Welcome to the City Rev Life podcast. My name is Angelica, and with us is Pastor Craig.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
And we have been talking about Christmas, right?
Yes.
And so Christmas is a lot of people's favorite time of the year.
Yep.
But it's also a lot of people's busiest time of the year.
Yeah, you got to get your shopping done. You got a holiday party. You've got Christmas get-togethers. You're, I don't know, decorating your house. You're trying to make travel plans maybe. It can be chaotic.
Yes, a lot of chaotic things. And so things can get out of whack, right? Schedules can get out of whack. Our focus maybe on Christmas can get out of whack. So what have we been talking about?
So we're trying to maybe cut through the busyness of the season a little bit and talk about recentering, refocusing on the things that matter. And so as we look at this Christmas coming up, and we look to the Bible, we know that we are called to focus on eternal things, right? There's a verse that I wanted to share with you guys out of 2 Corinthians 4, verse 18 says, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, right? Temporary, but the things that are unseen are eternal. And as Christians, we're called to have this eternal mindset. A lot of what makes Jesus different in his interactions in the world when you read the Gospels is that he just has a different view and a different perspective on the world because he has an eternal perspective on the world. And as Christians, we're supposed to tap into that. And the Bible explains that some things are eternal, but most of this world is not. Most of the things in this world are transient, right? Like the gifts we buy each other for Christmas are great, but they won't last. You know, the plans that we make and the holiday travel are great, but they won't last. These things come and go, but there are certain things that are eternal that we can access even here today, and that is our relationship with the Lord, the Word of God, and the souls of the people around us, right? They are eternal. And so for us, we want to kind of give a little advice, talk a little bit about in the busyness of Christmas, how can we keep our focus on the things that truly matter, the things that are eternal, right? And so for the first spot, right, the first thing that we should focus on for Christmas is Christ. It seems obvious.
Yes.
It seems like a pretty simple thing, but it can be sometimes difficult to keep the focus on the Lord and Christ. Like, I think like I'm a pastor, right? And when you think about the things that are like spiritual, sometimes it's the hardest to keep those spiritual practices in my life during the Christmas season, which should be about Jesus, right?
Yes.
Like Christmas Day is one of the hardest days of the year to find time to be alone with the Lord or to pray, right? Like it's so busy, which is so counterintuitive to how maybe it should be. But I think there are practices we can put in place to keep our focus on the Lord this Christmas. So I guess I toss it back to you. Are there things that you and your family do, practices that you guys have put in place that help you just take some time during the busy season and focus on Jesus?
Yeah, I think as just getting on with life, and as the older we get, we kind of say no to a lot more things.
Yeah.
Especially working at the church, kind of like what you said, we get so busy with all the programming and the things that we have to do. But just saying no to more things and focusing on like, okay, one thing we do as a family for Christmas is we have everyone over. And so inviting people over to the Christmas service, right? That's a great time for you to share the gospel is inviting people over. So that's
I love those moments too where you can like sit down with your family and for kind of push away all the busyness of the season. And I think, and I see it a lot in the families that come to our church or churches all around the country, all around the world, but just for that moment of like, they've rushed to church. They're dressed up normally because Christmas they like dress up nice, right? They're like wrangled all the kids. They've left some Christmas party or they're running to some Christmas event afterwards. But just for like an hour and a half, they're able to sit in the auditorium. They're able to focus on the Lord. They're able to worship God. And as a family, they're able to just think about him, right? And kind of recenter and refocus on him. So I think Christmas services are a huge way that
Yeah.
we can honor the Lord and focus on Jesus
Yeah,
in the
and
Christmas
one of
season.
the things too is like leading into Christmas is
Yeah.
a great way to like disciple your children.
Yeah.
And so they have them all over as those Christmas Advent calendars.
Yeah, yeah,
And that, or you can make them on your own.
yeah.
And so we used to count down to Christmas.
I
Would
love it.
flip the day,
I love it.
December 1st, and then we would do a Bible verse and just go over the story of Jesus.
So you didn't do the chocolate ones with your kids? You just did the...
We didn't do the chocolate ones because then they would
man.
fight over the
Oh, they'd
chocolate.
fight over the chocolate.
I would fight over the chocolate,
Yes.
and then
yeah, you could just do that. It'd be like,
yeah.
the chocolate belongs to me, and then...
I'm the mom.
Yeah, no, the advent calendars are good. I think those things like that, anything we can do to build in a focus on Jesus, because we're battling a lot too, even as Christians in the Christmas season, which is kind of funny, but consumerism kind of seeps in, and
Yes.
just the busyness, and so it can just become about these other things, and we can lose track of Jesus in the midst of it. So let me give you some suggestions if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, ways that you can keep the focus on Christ during the Christmas season. The first is obvious, we mentioned it already, but take time to worship the Lord this Christmas season, right? Take time as a family, make a plan to attend a Christmas service, to spend time in worship to Him. There are certain holy families with good self-control and discipline,
Yeah.
that like even take time on Christmas morning in the midst of the chaos, right? To like sit together and to pray and to read maybe the Christmas story, right? Like we've tried some of that in my home, and my kids are pretty impatient, but we're working on it,
Yeah.
right? But adding those kind of moments to focus on Jesus and remember, who He is and what He's done, or finding time, maybe when the kids are off of school, taking some time and maybe making like a little special trip and just think about the Lord and talking about the Lord. Maybe as you go to a Christmas event, you go to like a Christmas event at the park, or like we do like a lot of those, what do you call them, like light, Christmas
tree
light
lightings,
shows,
yeah.
and you go and see all the lights. Maybe take some time to really slow down and be intentional. Say, hey, I'm going to talk with my kids about the Lord during this time together. A couple other ideas is it's always easier to add than subtract things.
Yes.
People, you get busy, and that can be difficult to cut things out. And so maybe there actually are some things you can add. And so this might be a challenge for us as you enter this Christmas season, and for parents out there, is maybe there are some new Christmas traditions you could start with your family that are really focused on Jesus. And so I love the Advent calendar idea. That's a really good idea. There's also like a lot of Christmas devotionals out there that people sell that are short, and maybe you read a chapter of that before bed with your kids for, a week or two before Christmas. Or you get one of the calendars, or maybe you start a new Christmas tradition. I know a lot of families love to serve on like around Christmas time. So there's a lot of like toy drives and food drives and things like that going on in our community. And so maybe there's something you could join there and say, hey, this is going to be part of our Christmas tradition, right? We're going to focus on the Lord and focus on what He's doing, but just trying to add those things into your calendar.
Even on Christmas Day, I know there are a lot of people who do like happy birthday to Jesus kind of thing on Christmas Day. We used to do red velvet cakes.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's red on the inside. Outside, we would use like a white cream frosting. So it's just like a good remembrance of Christ.
Right. Our sins from scarlet, and they've been cleansed white as snow, right?
Yeah. And then
That's
you
cool.
can use it for your Christmas dinner.
There you go. And then it's a good dessert. So you got
Yeah,
that too.
there you go.
That works out.
2 in
That
1.
works out. And then I would say the second maybe focus for us as we enter into the Christmas season, and maybe a challenge for you if you're listening to this, watching this, would be to be intentional and focus on the people around you
That's
this
good.
Christmas.
That's really
because
good.
it's very easy. I don't know about you, but I know for me, but when things get busy, I kind of go into survival mode, right? Here's the next thing I got to do. We got to get to this event. We got to take people here. And I can become pretty short with the people around me, right? And just not have a lot of time for them, not have a lot of patience, and just be focused on, hey, here's the things I got to do. Got to get in, got to get out, and then get to the next event. And really it would be a mindset shift to be intentional about who are the people that I'm going to run into, and then who are even the people that are maybe a little bit more disconnected that I can invite in to my family life in the chaos and craziness of it, that maybe are maybe like lonely people in our community that we can invite in and have them enjoy Christmas with us and really spend time focusing on the people around us. So
Yeah.
as you kind of think about like your holiday gatherings and your holiday habits, have you found any successful ways that you just kind of focus on inviting people in or spending time with others during Christmas?
So for us, like Christmas, I work at the church, and so Christmas is always at our house.
Yes.
And it is a great way. We have some family and some friends who have lost loved ones, and so that's a really hard time for them.
Yeah.
And so we just invite them into our home and have them come for Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
And so it's a great opportunity to invite, you know, and welcome them into your home, and then even share the gospel there. So that's one of the things that we really do. Is it's a big celebration.
Yeah.
And so we just invite. It's easy.
And I think that is the work of Jesus, right? That's kind of that incarnational ministry of bringing people that are lonely or that are having a hard time and bringing them into your community. They can find love and joy. Like, that's a beautiful thing. One simple thing that I've been trying to add in more, which sounds kind of crazy, but as I enter into the Christmas season, is I know just throughout the years and my habits that there are certain people that I really only see nowadays during Christmas.
Yes.
Right? Like, you have that extended family member's friend, right? That just comes to that Christmas event and you're like, okay, last time I saw them the last 5 years was at this Christmas event. And I've tried to now, before I go to these events, or work ahead a little bit if I'm smart and on top of things, is I've tried to intentionally bring those people before the Lord in prayer.
Yeah.
And just pray for those interactions, to pray for that person. And what I found for me is it's led to opportunities to have some more meaningful conversations with them. And it's also changed my heart a little bit, right? In which sounds bad, but sometimes like those people, you're like, oh, I see them once a year, and so you might just say hello and just, keep it casual.
Small talk.
And small talk, and okay, I'll see you next year. But now it's kind of elevated that in my mind to be like, hey, how is that person doing? What's going on in their life? And specifically, what's the Lord doing in their life? And so it's been helpful to kind of gear my focus and steer those conversations a little bit. So bring up those people in prayer, pray to see people the way that Jesus sees them.
That's really good.
And then I'm trying to get better at this as well, but one of the ways that we can focus on the people around us is taking a mindset of looking to serve the people around us at Christmas. And that looks different for everyone, but I kind of love that that's built into the Christmas season, is that we're thinking of others, right?
Yeah.
And so with, as you think about this, as you're watching this or listening to this, with your place in your social network, right? Your place in the family or in the social gathering that you go to, we all have our responsibilities and our roles, right? What are some things that you could do this Christmas to serve the people around you, right? And as you think about those that you love, that are closest to you, what's something that you could add in and do, right? Is there like, we give a lot of gifts, right? And so for me, that's been trying to think through, again, kind of those people that you only see once a year, of trying to include them and maybe even buying them a gift, right? And thinking, hey, this might be meaningful for them, right? Or maybe trying to, like now we're in that season of life where everybody's so busy with kids, and we got little kids running around all over the place. So trying to be like, okay, well, what can we do for these kids that they'll enjoy, but also give their parents a little break during Christmas, Like, I love that when we have family members at our gatherings who are saying, like, sometimes they'll show up and they'll be like, hey, I've brought an activity for all the kids to do. And I'm like, oh, praise the Lord. Please enjoy that, have fun, build that gingerbread house or whatever, do that craft. And it is such a gift to me and to my wife during those times. And so I'm trying to build more of that into my schedule, right?
Yeah,
and
being very
so how we
intentional.
can think about that.
I love that. I love that, the focus on people and just praying ahead. It kind of changes the position of your heart, right?
Yeah.
And instead of checking all the checkbox of the things that we got to do for Christmas, it's just positioning our heart and our mind.
Yeah, and one more spiritual practice that I would add for us, I think would be good for us this Christmas, and you've already touched on it, but is also praying for wisdom or praying for insight into who are the people that God has brought into my life this past year. So maybe they haven't been around for Christmas before in your life, but who has God brought into my life this past year that might be lonely or hurting,
Yeah.
and this might be a difficult time for them. And so who's in my life that I can invite in to join me this Christmas? And so for me, I think about like people that maybe I've met at church or in my neighborhood, in my building, people that I've met through activities that my kids are doing or other places that I'm involved in that maybe are newer or maybe have recently lost a loved one or, you know, are living in a new town, things like that maybe don't have somewhere to go. And then who's a person that I can invite in and include and be part of what we're doing at Christmas? Because that's like a really tangible, beautiful way to show hospitality with the Bible commands and show the love of Christ to people around us in our lives.
I love that. I love that. I love how just keeping people around us and inviting and keeping our mind on Christ is just the focus. And it's the reason for the season, right? There's a bumper sticker for that.
That's it. There's
right?
a bumper sticker for it. It must be true.
Yes, it has to be. A lot of people have that, and they're great reminders. But Craig, thank you so much. So the things that we should focus on to keep Jesus in the season, the reason for the season is to pray, always pray, right? Keep him focused on our hearts and our minds, and just to look at the people around us. Right. I love that. I love that. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this conversation. I hope that it's helpful for you. And we can't wait to see you next time on the City Rev Life podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to the City Rev Life podcast. Feel free to subscribe and leave a rate and review. We love it when you share it with your friends on social media. So don't forget to tag us at cityrev.church. If you're interested in more resources, download our City Rev Church app and follow us on social media. Have a great day.